All right. Welcome back to Beaver Branch Disc Golf Adventures. Today's adventure is going to be Beaver Branch's Gold Course with Brian Morse. That's me. PDGA 16791. There you see our layout. We got a little over 5,800 feet to conquer. There's going to be 4 par 4s. And let's check out the action. Greetings. Hey, you want to play a round of golf? I'm getting ready to start a round of golds. Well, let's check it out. Let's see how it goes. That goofball. All right, hole 1, 381, plays like 400. I'm going to throw my Flippy Ballista Pro. The blue one. And I don't get quite enough arm speed on it to take it all the way to the pin, so I leave myself short with a probably back of circle 2 upshot here. Sorry for the nice layup. Hole number 2 is a par 3 at 256 feet. And I'm going to throw a VIP Gatekeeper on an early release and send it pin deep to the left, just inside circle 1, and miss my first C1X putt of the day. One of those things you just have to shake off right away and move on to a 221-foot hole number 3. Now, some of these holes do double up. I threw a retro keystone there on the Anheuser line. Knocked down the putt, got my first deuce of the round. Now here I'm throwing the hybrid anvil on a skip shot because I got to get way to the left, as you'll see here in just a second. That's the blue pin, and the gold pin is right in front of the OB here, and landed just short of it. Pretty much a bullseye shot, knocking down another 2. Usually I would trade off. I would get a 2 on hole 2 and just be happy with par on that. So here is our first par 4. And I have a little UDisc hack here because many people don't use it. If you're using the map on UDisc, you can use the blue dot here to locate where you are. If you look at the bottom right, you can see I'm 229 feet off the tee pad and 209 feet from the pin. Now I went through the sucker gap here because I couldn't use my normal landing area. What I wanted to do, and this is standing in the normal area, is get to the right of that blue pin and before the road, which is OB and across, so you can throw a hyzer shot down the road and break it back into the left. Here I'm just kind of going through, and I'm just gonna go ahead and take my medicine and take a par. I really like to get the 3s on these par 4s. Moving on to hole 6, 240 feet, a left to right. I'm gonna throw a retro fuse here. It's very beat up, pretty much a hyzer release, and I went wide on it here and left myself a circle 2 putt, cross the drainage ditch and make contact, but not good enough. But moving in the right direction here. Hole 7, 204 feet, very tight gap. There's a Mando on the tree behind the tree with the face on it. You have to go to the right of that. I'm throwing that hybrid anvil through the gap and hoping it gets down and maybe skips forward a little bit. I was left short here. I believe I hit the tree to the right here because I did hear something. And now I'm putting from the back of circle 1 and barely make it into the bottom of the basket. Hole 8 is our first tricky par 3 at 317. You got to go through this gap. I'm throwing a lucid escape and trying to make it go as straight as possible. And I flip a little bit to the right and kick left. I zoomed in here because I was trying to throw through this gap, and I end up yanking it off to the right, but it was no harm. It ended up being inside the circle, and this is a look walking down past the blue basket and towards the gold pin, which is straight ahead. The creek there is Beaver Branch, which is where the name of the course comes from. Little straddle putt from the rough behind the basket on gold 8, and we move on. This is looking at the pin, and now we're walking back to the tee pad, and I'm gonna play a retro fuse on a lot of hyzer, looking to snap it up to straight, but I end up putting so much hyzer on it, I ended up to the left of the basket on the back edge of circle 1, maybe circle 2, and had a very long putt, but happy it went in. And I'm 4 down on the front 9. I like to usually be at about 5 down. A scratch round on this course is anywhere from 7 down to 8 down, depending upon who's playing. Here I'm going to throw a Lucid Escape. This is our second par 4, hole 10. And it is over the river and through the woods. So we're shooting down into that gap. I got kicked down early into the right. And now I'm just trying to get, at this point, I just say I'm trying to get my 4 and work my way back up the fairway. Not a bad 4 to get. I like to get 3s on these 4s though. Hole 11 is 370 feet, and it's located down there in the corner in the shadows. I'm throwing a Lucid Trespass, and I don't quite get over enough on it, but I have probably the perfect distance on it because I'm putting straight across. I'm almost pin deep. Just needed to get it in there. Putting from circle 2. Take a par, move on to our second tricky par 3. This is 332 feet, and it's across a pond here, which is OB, and then the fairway bends slightly to the right and straight down the creek. And I'm throwing the Lucid Trespass on an Anheuser release there, trying to get around the corner and then straighten it down the creek. And I got extremely lucky here that I pulled it all the way over. This is a look from back at the tee pad and then midway down the fairway looking down towards the pin. You can get safe to the right or the left of the creek. And here we are putting from probably the back edge of circle 2 and across the creek. So I didn't go in the creek. This one can cause a little bit of problems, and ended up with a par, which is good. This is a 557-foot par 4. It's hole number 13. And I got a little bit over on that Trespass. Needed to put some more hyzer on it. And now I'm switching to the Ballista Pro with about maybe 360 feet left. And I throw it low and get absolutely zero skip action. So somebody needs to get mowing out here and get this course so it skips more, or I need to throw it correctly. Little upshot with the Keystone and another par on the par 4s. So I am 3 for 3 on par in the par 4s. Here I'm taking a Opto Chameleon River and not straightening it enough and ending up off to the left of the basket, where I have to step in and do a little sidearm chip shot here, just like a prayer, and missed it. Hole 14. Like to usually get hole 14. Hole 15 is a tricky little shot. You got to go straight through a very tight gap right here, and then you want to break to the left just slightly. Really, a straight shot will give you a putt. I'm getting greedy here by trying to get closer, but I end up with a circle 2 putt there. what I call circle 2.1. Hole 16 is our last par 4 at 430 feet. Really, you want to get a straight shot and get through the gap to right about here, and then it opens up. And from there, you can chip up. I'm throwing a retro keystone with a whole bunch of hyzer, hoping it straightens a little bit, and trying to land in that bullseye, just a little bit outside the bullseye and C1X. But got a birdie there on one of the 4 par 4s, so I'm happy with that. This is a tricky one, hole 17. You got to throw something that's kind of understable with a whole bunch of hyzer so that it works to the left on this fairway. Hit it perfectly here with the Lucid Trespass, whole bunch of hyzer, landed in the bullseye here. And then we move on to hole 18. Hole 18 is 415 feet, the flagpole hole. And I'm trying to get the Ballista Pro here. I did have a right to left wind, and I got the edge up. So just have to settle for playing for the par here. Didn't get a really good snap on it or anything like that. But happy with a 7 down. That's usually somewhere in the 995 to 1005 rated round according to our league scores that we've had here, depending upon who's playing, of course, and how they're playing. But definitely happy with that score. Thanks for watching if you hung in there, and hope to see you sometime out at the branch. See you later.